This is the W2 Report with Sanji Himura. Here's Sanji.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the W2 Report. Today, we are going to learn through history why a game developer should not sue their critics. But before we do that, let's go over the ground rules with Mr. Land.
Rule number 1, don't be a dick. Especially, do not go after Fntastic. Especially don't go after the people they're suing. Clarifying rule 2, you don't have to own one in order to be one. Rule 3, if you have any questions, refer to rules number 1 and 2.
All right. Today we are joined by Mr. Murky. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
And we're going to go over Fntastic and their need to sue a games critic today. So let's get right on it. This is courtesy of PC Gamer. The Day Before Studio reportedly sues Russian website for calling their infamous disaster game a scam. Now, Mr. Lin, why is that a problem?
Because it's not actually defamatory. Specifically, it's not an unfounded assertion. In order for it to be sue worthy, it has to be false, and they have to know that it's false. And especially with Fntastic keeping as many secrets as they can, the website can't judge their intentions. They can judge only the final product.
Yes, Mr. Murky, as we may well know, The Day Before, which was the most wish-listed game on Steam at one point, promised a lot of stuff, but delivered very little.
Mm-hmm.
And if what precisely does that make it?
Yeah, I think that would make it a scam.
Yeah, it's like Kira actually made a very good point. Kira actually made a good point in explaining his own definition for scam, because it's like from the perspective, as far as in terms of delivering goods to the customer, it is in effect no different from the scam, whatever the intentions may be.
Yes. In other words, for those of you who are watching at home, it doesn't matter if the final product was delivered. The fact that they bait and switched the entire way through the 8+ years of development cycle does make it a scam.
For everybody who's new to this story and doesn't have time to catch up, it's the specifics of what happened was that Fntastic did a lot of basically they sold the hell out of the sizzle, and they didn't take the money and run. No, instead it was constant mismanagement and essentially toxic positivity, which is firing anybody who says this isn't working, this is the wrong way to go about it. So it's like, we know technically they didn't intend to not deliver a product, but in in terms of the physical product itself, their own ego got in the way so much that intent doesn't matter.
Yes.
All right, you want to continue on with the webpage?
Yeah. Give me a second. Yeah. Yes. Let us go over the article in question. For the Gusev brothers. This is around the time when Fntastic was raising money for Prop Night. Because the company in question was trying to do a revival. And they still are. And
I was about to say, are they actually planning to release the game at all at this point?
Which game?
The day before.
Oh, it's already out and it's shuttered within 4 days.
No, it's like they did release the game. Well,
Right.
They released a product because
and then they took it down.
Because the people who they really ended up scamming were their publisher.
Hmm.
And even
publisher.
Then it did sell a lot of copies before Valve stepped in and forced refunds on everybody.
Yeah, their own publisher booted it out the door and said, "We're done."
Now, they promised honesty, transparency, and professionalism. But yet when they act on all three, they showed that they were dishonest. They sure as hell showed that they weren't transparent, and they certainly showed that they weren't professional. This is Fntastic 2.0, folks. By suing their critics, Fntastic has shown their true colors. And we actually compared Digital Homicide from time to time on this channel, and for very good reason. When they sued Jim Sterling back in 2017 or 2015, I don't remember, they obviously missed the plot on how a developer should react to a game's critic. Fntastic 2.0, by suing this outlet, which, let's be fair, before they even sued them, they only had like 300 views an article, which is not bad, but certainly nowhere near mainstream. And so I want to ask the room, does that obviously play a factor in the bigger picture in censoring games critique?
Which part of it would you say would play a factor?
Well, the lawsuit itself, to be completely honest.
What was the result of the lawsuit?
It's just started, so it hasn't really. Nothing's truly developed in it yet. It's just starting.
Yeah, they just started. According to this article by the same outlet that got sued, they were actually the Gosiev brothers actually paid for an expert to analyze the word scam.
Yeah, it's Really, at most, it's going to be a local ripple in terms of game development and games journalism. Because it's like how it plays out in Kamchatka really will end up being isolated inside Kamchatka.
Yeah, it's like Fight Club. The
Or
first rule of
Yakutsk.
Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club.
No, it's more like whatever happens in New Vegas stays in New Vegas.
Oh, the greatest Fallout game of all time.
Yeah.
All right. So with that out of the way, I would like to thank Murky for joining us all week long on the W2 Report. And before we say goodbye, remember to do all the YouTubey things and beware, the tax man cometh.